Hello everybody, welcome back to 40 Days with Henry. Today's passage is from the book With Open Hands. Henry writes, "If we think that a little praying can't do any harm, we will soon find that it can't do much good either. Prayer has meaning only if it is necessary and indispensable. Prayer is prayer only when we say that without it, we cannot live. How can this be true or be made true? The word that brings us closest to an answer to this question is the word compassion. To understand this, we must first examine what happens to us when we pray. Then we can comprehend how we can meet our neighbors in prayer." So I love that start. One of the things I love about Henry is, he's deep and he's brilliant, but he also has a way of saying things which takes something that we might think that we know about in our spiritual lives, and he just twists it. And it makes us think, So, we might think, okay, well, prayer, I understand prayer, and I know kind of the ins and outs of prayer, and I know how to pray. We might think that, and then he offers something like this little passage, and it makes us think, right? That phrase, if we think that a little praying can't do any harm, then we'll find that it can't do much good. And it causes us to think, do I do that? Do I sometimes approach prayer in a way that says, well, it's going to hurt? And so by doing so, unwittingly rob prayer of its grandeur, of its life-altering and life-changing and life-giving power. As I read this, I was thinking about my own habit of prayer. And I try to do morning prayer in the mornings, and I try to do evening prayer in the evenings. And as I was reading this, particularly where he says prayer has meaning only if we see it as necessary and indispensable, and prayer is prayer only when we say that we can't live without it. Was thinking about my habit of the daily office and just kind of questioning, are there times where I treat morning or evening prayer as something to get through rather than as this place in which I am engaging in life and where I am engaging in God's life-changing work in this world? And the answer to the question, honestly, is yes. There's no condemnation here. We are people, and we are sometimes tired and burdened, and so there's no condemnation for me, and I don't think there's any condemnation for you if you echo this. But I know that for myself, there have been times where I approach morning prayer or evening prayer as, okay, I'm going to get it through so that I can go on to this and this and this. And yet Nouwen's passage here, I think, is deeply challenging because it calls us to recognize just the power and transformative nature of what we are doing when we pray. It changes the way we look at prayer if we dare to believe that by praying for something, God's power will be manifest. And the danger is that we build up our own ego, and this is not what Nouwen is saying, but Nouwen is trying to suggest that if we just dare to believe that praying is this place where we are engaging with the very power of the one who created the universe, and we are joining in that life-giving creative power in this world, that is such an awesome thing that it has to change how we interact with God and with prayer. And that has to change us, he says. right? He says that, the word that brings us closer to this, how do we make this true? The word that brings us closer to this is compassion. And you might think, okay, I don't understand where he's getting at. But if we recognize that this power of prayer, which is so radical, then this naturally changes our lives. And when we enter into that place, we begin to be changed. We begin to be changed because we will go boldly into places of prayer for others. We will storm the throne of heaven as much as we can because we believe that this prayer can actually do something, and this prayer can matter, and this prayer can make a difference. Not because of what I do, but because of what God does. And what that does within us is create the capacity to come alongside others. And this is why he's bringing in compassion, because we naturally see this wonderful call to stand with others, to journey with our neighbors in prayer. I hope this challenges you in your own prayer life, because it challenges me in my prayer life. Your prayers and your engagement with the power of God in this world, it is transformative. It is powerful. It is life-giving. And the prayers that you pray for others, for your community, for the world, make a difference. God bless you as you continue on in your journey of Lent, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.